Gotcha.
Hey, how's it going everybody? It's Thegameconomist, and today I made it to the Duel Arena. Of course, I've just been playing the story mode. I haven't really been working on anything else for like my YouTube channel or anything. I've just been having a good time. I enjoyed my Memorial Day weekend. I hope you guys all did too. And yeah, so I hopped into the Duel Arena today and played for like an hour or two, and I thought I'd share my impressions with you, why not? The first thing I noticed, roles are not as OP as they used to be. I think a lot of you are probably already suspected this, guessed this. You can go with the light roll, that's probably what I recommend. The fat rolls, you're gonna get wrecked if you go with the fat roll. Medium roll, I think is probably gonna be okay as long as you have a really good poise build, right? And then that's the other thing I noticed. Poise is really good. If you don't have poise, think of it like this. There's a balance between how good rolling is and how good poise is. In Dark Souls 3, for a long time, poise was irrelevant and rolling was really overpowered. Then by the end, after some updates in Dark Souls 3, poise was relevant once again, but it still wasn't OP. You still wanted to have like kind of a straight sword or a curved sword because those were most effective at punishing rolls, right? With some exceptions, some counter meta builds and stuff like that. Well, in this game, because the rolls aren't automatically super powerful, you probably have a bigger emphasis on being able to trade with opponents using poise and high damage. So I don't know, it'll be interesting to see what the dedicated PvP community really develops over time, and I'm hoping to see that happen. I'm hoping to see the people from Dark Souls 3 kind of get their butts over here in beautiful 60 FPS and show off what they know about Dark Souls 1. But at the same time, it is a little disappointing that, well, I wouldn't call it disappointing. It's just that you can tell that this is a downgrade from Dark Souls 3. Controls a little bit, like your character is just slower. No omnidirectional roll while you're locked on, no running while you're locked on, and those kind of things, like especially not being able to run while you're locked on. You can run forward. That's pretty much the most useless direction to run while you're locked on, right? Because if you run forward, all your opponent has to do is guard or react with an early attack. But what you really want to do when you're approaching an opponent, you want to run at an angle so that if they don't have good tracking on their weapon, they're going to miss you and you're going to get your running attack in, or if they have a weapon with a very vertical hitbox, you're going to get around the hitbox and punish them for trying to punish you, right? Counter punish. So I'm imagining that the expert players are going to learn to play unlocked a lot, especially for those running attacks. That's going to be really important because I noticed tracking in this game isn't that good anyway. So if you can learn to do your running attacks while you're not locked on, that's probably going to be pretty important. I don't have a lot else to say other than I ran into a, is he called, like a giant dad or something? A great dad? I think it's called giant dad. He was terrible. Maybe it was the Zweihander itself. He was using what I assume was the R1, and it was slower than it felt like in Dark Souls 3. I mean, I messed up one roll on it, but I mean, the reaction was so easy on that weapon, so I don't ever see that being a meta. Maybe it's just a meme, right? But how did he become a meme other than he's terrible and he kills noobs probably, right? The giant dad. I also did run into a Havel setup where he was using the same weapon as me, and this was a perfect opportunity for me to kind of test the usefulness of the roll versus the armor. I have a few clips of that, and of course what I noticed was that the poise was really important for him. I fought him twice actually, and both times it ended in a draw, and I feel like I would have beaten him if I had also had the same amount of poise, so that he didn't have the poise advantage, and maybe if I'd had a counter to his pyromancy. So yeah, I could see right away that your build really does it. It's going to matter in this game, just like it mattered a lot in Dark Souls 3, and I'm excited to kind of figure that out. Yeah, one of the things I really don't like about here's one of my biggest criticisms of the Dark Souls Remaster when it comes to PvP. They should have, without a doubt, had a way for your character to be respectable so that you could go in, play with the build, be like, oh man, this is going to be a meta build for PvP. Then when you decide you're bored of it, you move on to another build. They want you to start a whole new game just for like one weapon, maybe one setup, maybe. That's crazy. Right? That's too much. And that actually hurts the PvP community, that there's no way to respect your character. And I would love to see them add that in a patch or in some kind of update. I doubt they will, but they really should consider it, and I don't know, maybe if everyone's vocal enough about it, they'll consider doing it. I can't imagine how hard it is. It couldn't be that complicated, right? Like, they added covenants to the bonfires, but who knows, maybe it is very complicated. Okay, other than that, yeah, just my experience in the arena was that everything felt a lot slower, the rolls were weaker, lack of omnidirectional roll while locked on, lack of run while locked on. Still a game with a low skill ceiling in the sense that you only have to hit your opponent about 3 times and they're dead. So we'll see what comes out of it. We'll see what I'm sure there's a lot of people coming from Dark Souls 3, excited to be able to play this game and know that there's going to be a significant player base here for the PvP. Of course, another thing, I don't think that these nuances to high tier dueling is going to affect the invading as much. Invading's still going to be a lot of fun, I think, but at the same time, the fact that you can backstab somebody who's running away, you'd think that would help the invader. I think that actually is going to make it harder for the invader. You see, when you're in the invader and you have like 3 people and they all start chasing you at the same time, you basically have to run. You really do. You're going to lose to 3 people. So being able to kite the opponent is really important for invading. And if you're backstabbing them real easy while they're kiting, it could actually end up with it being even more complicated, more difficult for the invader. That, along with the matchmaking, I've heard rumors that the matchmaking protects newbies from twinks, right? Twinks are, if you don't know what a twink is, I'll explain it real fast. Basically, it's somebody who he knows everything about the game and he's got this very optimized build that's designed to be matched up with the newbie, and he's going to crush the newbie because 1, he's better at the game anyways, and 2, is built significantly better than a noob. So, but from what I've heard, the matchmaking has changed, so that's harder to do that. It's harder to get away with it. Now you're going to have to use weapons of similar rank to the person you're invading. But I haven't gotten into all of that. I'm sure I will later. Right now I'm just enjoying having the dual arena again, and let me know what you think. I got some footage for you guys. I'm using the Black Knight halberd, by the way, and I don't have it, my build's not completed yet, so I'm really just experimenting. I didn't go in with upgraded armor or anything, so I just kind of jumped in there for fun, and further down the road I'll have things a little more worked out, right? A little fancier, and I'll be able to talk a little more in depth about the weapons and start giving them maybe like ratings, tier ratings, like what I did in the past with Dark Souls 3, right? So I have a bit of catching up to do, and we'll see what comes in the future, right? Alright, well, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you guys next time.